Turn the page, live your life every day. Don't let anybody stand in your way.
Hey, Mike Foster here. It's another episode of Whatcha Reading. I've been doing these for, God, I think coming up on 10 years. And here's 6 new books that I've been reading. I'd love to find out what you're reading. I'm in my office, my library, my den. It's all 3. And I've read some really great books lately. This one is called Picture in the Sand. It's by Peter Blauner. And this is a great book. It takes place in the 1930s, 40s. It's when and it takes place in Egypt. It's when they were shooting the 10 Commandments. Cecil B. DeMille, and he's in the book. Charlton Heston's in the book, who was in the movie. A lot of the actors are in the book. So it's a mix of fiction and nonfiction. But it's mostly a fiction book, and it's a story of a guy who becomes the driver. He's an Egyptian. He falls in love with a gal. His cousin is involved in terrorist acts, and he wants to sabotage the picture. This young kid doesn't know what to do. He's stuck in the middle. He's a confidant for some folks in the picture. It's like I said, it's a story within a story, and it's super entertaining. It's called Picture in the Sand by Peter Blauner. I recommend it. I didn't say a lot because I don't want to give away the plot. It was very entertaining. Stephen King says, on rare occasions I read a book that reminds me of why I fell in love with storytelling in the first place. And this is such a book. Great novel. Just came out last year. Here's another one that's a couple years old. This one is Stanley Tucci. He's an American actor. You might have seen him. He's been in a few movies. He also had a show on CNN where it was called Chasing Italy or Taste of Italy. And it was a great show where he went to all the different provinces of Italy and tasted the food there and talked about the history there. It's called Taste, is the name of the book. My Life Through Food by Stanley Tucci. And Stanley talks about, it's part memoir, part cookbook, because he has recipes in here with his travels through Italy and how they affected his life, and very interesting anecdotes. He's a very interesting man, and the food will make your mouth water. Taste by Stanley Tucci. Try that one. That's nonfiction, of course. And here's an old one. This is an old one by a great writer, Dennis Lehane. Now, he wrote Mystic River. He wrote a lot of books. Mystic River became a movie. So did Gone Baby Gone. This one is called Prayers for Rain. It's with the same characters of the folks from Gone Baby Gone. It's a detective duo that hunt down, the bad guys, but does it in a very interesting way, and takes place in New England. And Dennis Lehane should be added to your list. He's a great writer. He's been around for a little while, and this was a really good book in a very entertaining way. This one's called Prayer for Rain. Dennis Lehane. All right, this was a really fun book. This is by the comedian Kevin Nealon, and it's called I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame. But these are caricatures. This is all about caricatures. This guy paints gorgeous caricatures, and then each caricature has a little written story about it. Like there's look at that, John Travolta. Kevin Nealon painted that. That's pretty amazing. What's one of my favorites in here? He does a really good job. Look at this one. This one's Howard Stern, and he met Howard. He talked to Howard, and then he tells some stories about that. That's a great one. He's got some really good ones in here. Look at this. It's Chris Rock. There's Chris Rock. Kevin Nealon's a very talented, very funny guy, but very interesting guy. And he talks about how he, let me see if we got someone, there's Jim Carrey. There's another good one. Really good. He's a great caricaturist, a great painter. It's called I Exaggerate, because that's what caricature is. It's exaggeration of the face. My Brushes with Fame by Kevin Nealon. It's great to look at, but there's also some great stories in this book. Highly recommended. Now this next book is a fiction book. This one's called Daughters of Molokai. This is by Alan Brennert. He's written a few books, but he does have 3 or 4 books about Hawaii. This is a historical novel that takes place at the turn of the century. This family that moved from Hawaii to Northern California, built a farm, built a life, but it was just about the time when everything was going well for the family, and then World War II hit, and remember they put the Japanese in internment camps, which was, you know, not the proudest moment for the United States, for Americans. It's something that they've done in the past, and I don't know why they do it, but they did it, and there were reparations. People lost everything. These guys lost everything, but they rebuilt back, and it's a story of survival. It's a story of family. It's a great story. Daughters of Molokai. Alan Brenner. Check that one out. And the last one is a really great one. This one it's called The Boys. It's a story, it's written by Ron Howard and Clint Howard. They're brothers. They're both actors. Of course, you've heard of Ron Howard. He was Opie. He was Richie Cunningham. And he directed some great movies like Apollo 13 and, you know, a bunch of other ones. And his younger brother, Clint, is also an actor. It talks about their time with their father, Reese. It's a memoir, but a lot of it is about how they grew up in Hollywood and how they turned out pretty darn good. And it's just fascinating, all the inside stories about these 2 kids growing up in Hollywood. They were big stars when they were young. And Clint's had a up and down battle, but he still, you know, is a working actor. And of course, like we said, Ron's had tremendous fame. And but not without your ups and downs. It's a very interesting memoir. It's called The Boys, and that picture is worth the price of admission. Look at that. That's them walking to work with their dad. Pretty cute, huh? I highly recommend it. So that's this episode of What You're Reading. Hey, get out there and read. Reading is, to me, the most important thing you can do every day, besides exercise, besides eating right. But reading is something that I do every day. I mean, I've got a problem. I've got a huge library, but I love reading. I've been doing it my whole life, and I've been collecting books for more than half my life, and it's just something that I love. So go out there and read. Tell me what you're reading, and let me know if you like this series. And for more videos like this, check out Live Life 365 at YouTube. And until next time, peace. Keep reading.
Live life 365.
And this is kind of like that. It's called, and you see him on there. That's not him. That is him.